Hello, Horda. Kunastá Shivsha, Tobroner. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit late getting on there. I hope you're all well and I hope all is going good. I know it's extremely hard. I'm just gonna let this window open. Extremely hard to study in that sunshine. Um, and I know as the weeks are getting shorter now, you're coming into the last month of school. So I can imagine there's talk about graduations and all that really, really exciting stuff. But in the background, there's a lot of study to be done as well. So it's hard. So I hope you're all good and feel like you're staying on top of things. And that you feel like you're in control kind of everything. So today what we're going to look at, we're going to do Quid B and Quid C of the listening that we started last week. And then we're actually going to have a look at the poets, okay, of for the 9 mark question. And I suppose just to talk you through what like if the 9 marker doesn't come up, what it may be for each of the poems, okay? Then we're going to have a look at some Cócamillis revision as well, just in case Cócamillis comes up. Now, look, you don't have to study Cócamillis if you don't want to. Obviously, Deesh and Cóca were the two that didn't come up last year, which is why I am focusing on both of them in the hope that one of them will be up. But like, look, it's totally up to yourself. If you want to leave it out, you can. But I think, to be honest, in comparison to Deesh, Caucamillish is probably much easier. So I think it is probably one of the easiest ones. So I would probably definitely be having a look at it. Okay. So yeah, and as always, guys, if there's any questions that you have, you can ask me now and like obviously when I check in with you guys. But if you do have any questions, please just let me know. I'm sure there has to be some questions possibly on the lead up. And as I suppose you're starting to really get just exam focused. So if there is like any question, big or small, just write it down below. So let's look at our Briefer Shanukal and Nachna before we do that. So I have three verbs here, right? So cruthig is an absolutely brilliant one. So to create, I think it's actually a really good one as well that you could use for 6B. Okay, so like cruhian onto their Evo, then whatever maybe their life is about. So I actually might just write that in. So cruhian onto their Evo fui whatever, okay, fui X. It may be something that you seen like if you read, right? So obviously you don't want to use the sentence that they have used in the reading comprehension, so you could kind of invertedly use this kind of a sentence to mention it. Brew, so obviously to push, okay. Now, obviously, it's not just a physical push, so to push an image on us, to push a thought on us, okay, or air on lehor on the reader, okay, if you didn't want to say like on us. So obviously to push something on us would be erin is on us, but on the reader, air on lehor, okay, on the reader. And Glock, okay, so Glock is a really good one. So to accept, right? So Glock me Kara, so I accepted the invitation as I've written here. Glock and Shay role Larnock, so it takes is a central role. So it kind of like can be it takes as well. They kind of I suppose proper translation is to accept, but obviously like Glockenshade accepts the central role, it takes the central role. That's a great phrase that you can use like poetry, prose, any of those. Now, Shanukal, so Bahatanga ia Lowert, so a life of a language is to speak it. So obviously that would be very much connected to our An Gaeilge essay. And then Aaron Umlon is our Nachna Concha, and then that's overall. So I thought that might be a good one, for your concluding paragraph. If you didn't want to use Miracle Score, you could use Aaron Umlon, and that's obviously where you're summarizing what you've said in the rest of the question and obviously referring back to the question as well before we finish off our answer. So before we get in and look at the clue Tishkinj, how are you guys getting on? So what is happening, how's the study going, and obviously if you have any questions, please just let me know. So you can write down below, and if there is any questions at all, please let me know. But I suppose kind of where are you at? How are you feeling even about the essays? So obviously the essays is such a big one at the minute. Yeah, just I suppose overall, how's your study going? So, Liam, my answer to that would be it depends on what two essays you are planning on doing. So, obviously, with the variety, like, are they very niche or are they two kind of broad essays that you could, fit into a lot of different titles? You'll know as well, and we'll be doing that next week. I think I have it scheduled for where we're actually going to be looking at like all the past exam questions and like how we would fit your titles and your content into every single year. So obviously, Leah, if you do that even yourself with what you're learning, to see could you make it work for you. Chloe also, hi. You know this is the first time I've spoken to an adult or young adults today and with stuck home with a baby all day. I had a look at the essay you put up in your student folder and I commented on it yesterday, just in case you put that up and you think that I haven't seen it. I saw it yesterday and I replied to it. So yeah, and with you saying like about poetry and stuff, I think it's probably a good time to be at that. Probably don't want to be at like the poetry and the prose revision like the week before because like again they are obviously important to study but they're not worth the marks that they should be, so that warrants all the effort that goes into them. So I would be saying, the week before I'd be really focusing in on your essays, things, even like your literature fresh question, things that that are going to get you more marks, reading comprehensions, working on 6A and 6B, things like that. Okay, so what I would say is that when it gets down to the wire and you're like a week out and you're like, oh, like my Cócamillis answer is not sticking, or I haven't fully finished like learning Magrosa, I would be saying to you like, obviously we want you to be able to have everything learned off, but if it's a case where it's like little itty bits within the poetry and the prose, I would actually be saying to you to stop, to not stress about it, because it's probably not worth the stress with regards to probably how many marks you're talking about. Okay, now what, look, obviously with a H1 you do need to be as polished as possible, but I mean it's not worth like losing sleep over. Okay, I would rather you spend loads of time on the ASHTA and kind of, wing the poetry section to the best of your ability, then leave the essay to, like, leave it too close to exam day. Okay, is what I don't want you to do. Um, so yeah, and what Maeve's in there about the 6A and 6B work, very, very important, guys, to keep on top of the 6A and 6B work. Okay, Naomi, you were trying to hopefully you found the Taoiseach rules okay, but if not, if you need me to explain them again, let me know. So Leah, on Córsaigeachas and Gaeilge, look, Gaeilge, like we're all kind of hoping Gaeilge is going to be there as like its own title. So if that happens, happy days for you. Córsaigeachas, yes, it is broad in a sense that you can bring it into like a social problem, a problem in Ireland. You know, it's got to do with life in Ireland today. But we need one more problem like to for it to be warranted a full essay, right? You can't just write about one topic in like a scale to nuach the essay. So it's news stories, so it has to be more than one. So like you probably will get away with it, but it all depends on what grade you want also. Okay, so obviously, you know, you're going to get penalized because you're not talking about more than one topic, and then obviously that will affect kind of every grade within the grading system. So I would say to you, Leah, if you don't have time to do anything else, that's fine as it is. Okay. You know, I think, look, you should be fine with the two of those. Um, I would say learn them and see how you get on. And then, look, if you have time, maybe 2 weeks out to learn even a paragraph or two about the housing crisis, happy days. Okay. Guys, does anyone have any questions for me? If you do, just write them here or write them in Zoom chat. If in case I don't see them. Okay. So we did the 20, sorry, that should say 2025. So we did the 2025 quiz last week, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I am. So this week we're going to do quiz B and quiz C, okay? And we are then going to look at the marking scheme, okay? So we can have a look at kind of how it was corrected and how you guys got on, okay? So let's just have a quick look at Quid B and Quid C. Now, I don't want to, so obviously the last one we looked at, we did translate like the words and stuff to a certain extent. This time, I just want you to have a look at them, and then we're just going to start. So I'm actually not going to say anything this evening, okay, on the actual words and the translations of them. So I'm going to give you like 40 seconds per page. Okay, so guys, if you have your papers, this is 2025 Quid B and Quid C. Okay, we're going to just focus on Quid B for the minute. So I'm going to give you 40 seconds per to look at the questions from Cora Hain and then the questions from Cora Do. Okay, and then I'm going to start Quid B. All right. Now remember, with Quid B, hardest part of the listening, you know, two people speaking, and just remember the extra. So when you hear it the second time, there's going to be a gap in the middle, okay, between the two parts of the conversation. So it is important that you know, I suppose use that to your best of your ability, okay? Like remember when the beeps the first time, be like, okay, I just need to get the answers down for these three questions. When it beeps again, you're like, okay, now I only focus on the last three questions. Okay. Are we ready? Okay, sorry, no, I need to give the 40 seconds. So are we okay to start you know, start each choral. So I'm going to give 40 seconds to look at this one and then 40 seconds to look at choral though. So away we go. So 40 seconds on the clock for this one. Okay, so I'm now going to move on to choral though, and then I will come back to choral Hill when I start the tape, okay? And then this is choral though, right? So we have 40 seconds to look at that. Okay, so again, it's about like highlighting keywords, maybe writing the English over them if you can. Okay, just to give you like prompts as the tape is going on, right? So, and remember, don't worry about spelling for this section. So let me just go back up to Cora O'Hain. Okay, now can you give me, so it's going to go straight into Quiz B. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear this?
De scrúd fápéir, na tróiricha agus na ceistena a rán le cuid bí.
Okay, perfect. Right, okay, when it starts again, it's going to go straight into Coro Ahin. So focus on Coro Ahin only now for two, and then we'll move on to Coro though.
Córa a héan.
Hi, Anora. It's just to echo. Cáil tú ag dul?
Tá mé ar bhealach ag stáisiú an árdaí ar bmhóthar na trá, a Liam.
Oh, Kent Fall.
A Liam. Bhí androch lá agam hain agus ag mo chara seán in é. Cháil mise mála airigid agus brisú uirla seoil cheáin.
Is úfasach an scéal é sin. Cad a hála?
Mar is óldait, tá féile ar siúl sa cheantar faoi láthir. Agus le linn na féile sin, bhí me hain agus seán ag buscáil ar thaobh na sráide las mo den siúpa spórt. Tar éis tamil, Jimmy mise chun cupán té a áil. Dag mé an mála airigid faoi chóram cheáin. Pé mía a tháinig ba nó tiisle as. Hic sé agus brisú a bhusca ceol.
Oh, tá sé sin go donna. Gortaí bheith.
Níor gortaí bheith ar ábharí an tíl, ach ba nó get mhóras. Thug sé leis an bosca ceol briste agus Jimmy sé bháile. Bhí sé go mór trí na chéile agus rinne sé dearmad ar an mála airigid.
An neacha tú ar eis go dtí náit ar se beag buscail.
Chua, ach ní rá tásc na tuairisc ar cheán ná ar an mála airigid.
Tásúlaim gur duine onric a thógan tairigid agus go bhaid se ar eis an na Gardaí. Hit sporán as mála maintím an teachtain se caite na ra bhí si ag siúpadóireacht. Bhí a cadúnas tomána agus a cartaí bank ina sporán. Ach bhí an tára agus fuair si ar eis iad.
Go híntach. Tásúlagam go bhfuil críoch honna in an dúine freisin. Tá muid ag sábhail airigid chun freastal ar Rossí na Gaillimhe i mí úil.
Cad faoi bhosca ceol cheáin?
Dúirt Seán nach meach sé anán a bhusca ceol a hinnim go cean mísa, mar go gahí sé é a chur chuig deise thuir uirlisí ceol chun cuí a chur air.
Oh, ní bheidh sé róthásta lei sin. Ó mór ort féin inis. Slán go fóil.
Hold on. Sorry, Maeve. My laptop is acting on. You don't think this is the right? Hold on. I'm doing it off study clicks.
Hi, Anora. It's just to echo.
Okay.
Cáil tú ag dul?
Tá mé ar bhealach ag stáisiú an árdaí ar.
Okay. Bear with me now. $20.25. Okay, guys, just bear with me because they obviously have uploaded it wrong. I'm just gonna go quickly over to examinations. Apologies, guys. Sorry, my laptop is acting up a little bit today. Give me 2 secs. 2025. Leave insert. Okay, right.
Comisiún na scrúdaí.
Okay, bear with me. I'll just get it to the right time. Okay. Okay, I think it's going to go straight in now. Bear with me because I wrote down the time.
Cora a héan.
Okay.
Hello again.
Right. Is everyone okay there? Will you just give me a thumbs up that you're okay? You have the, yeah? Okay. Right. It's going to go straight into it now, guys. Apologies about that. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Sorry, pressing the wrong play button. Okay. Right. Away we go.
Óthar na trá a Liam.
Oh, can't fall.
A Liam. Bhí androch lá agam hain agus ag mar chara seán in é. Cháil me se mála airigid agus brisú uirla seoil cheáin.
Is úfasach an scéal sin. Cad a hála.
Mar is óldait, tá féile siúl sa cheantar faoi láthir. Agus le linn na féile sin, bhí me hain agus seán ag buscáil híomh na sráide las má den siúpa spórt. Tar éis tamil, Jimmy mise chun cupán té a áil. Dag mé an mála airigid faoi chóram cheáin. Pé míá a tháinig ba nó tiisle as. Hit sé agus brisú a bhusca ceol.
Oh, tá sé sin go duna. Gortaí bheith.
Níor gortaí bheith ábharí an tíl, ach ba nó get mhóras. Thug sé leis an bhusca ceol briste agus Jimmy sé bháile. Bhí sé go mór trí na chéile, agus rinne sé dearmad an mála airigid.
Oh. Hold on.
An necha tú eis go dtí náit a Russia beag buscail.
Chua, ach ní rá tásc na tuairisc cheán ná an mála airigid.
Tásúlaim gur duine ionric a thógan tairigid agus go bhaidh sé ar eise.
Okay, that's so strange. Why is it doing that? Okay, guys. 2025. Gaeilge. Sound file. Okay. Papers. 2025. What? Why is this not working? Why is this? Okay. Just trying to check that they're all the same. Full audio track. Full audio track, right. 2026. Okay. Okay, do you know what? We're gonna just, I don't know why that's not working, but it worked last week. That's annoying. So you still think this isn't the right audio? Taking it off examinations. Okay, so examinations have uploaded. There's something going on. Okay, right. Do you know what? We'll come back to it because actually, do you know what? For just Cora Hain, because I feel like you've gone through the questions now, I'm going to put up the script of it. Oh, you could be right, Maeve. Hold on. Christ on a bike. You could be right, actually.
Gur siúl sa taithil an ólaíochta, ag ceathrúchan na hain dear daonseach.
Just bear with me 2 seconds.
Ag glórach fithe scoláire.
You know what? I'm going to get you to go on and do the next bit, and I'll be listening to it, and we can circle back that way, okay? So Okay, so moving on from the listing just for the set for the minute, right? So we're just going to have a look at the importance of keywords when it comes to the poetry section. So remember, guys, the majority of your marks for the poetry section is going on um like your OLS, right? So 90% of the marks for poetry and prose and the literature fresha, okay, so that's your on three, Lehigna, Titcher, Gotha, whichever one you're doing. The 90% of the marks is going for the keywords, right? With keywords equals OLS, right? Because you're giving the information, you're using the keywords, which shows the detail. So, when answering the poetry section, it is important to try and include as many keywords as possible, as majority of the marks are going for OLS, so the info of the poem. Now, so below is a bank of keywords from the three poems we are focusing on this year: Mocharosa, Gavin, and Antharic here. So please put the keywords with its correlating poem, okay? So obviously, if you, I know I have them up here, but I'm going to do it after. So what I want you to do, so there's a load of different words here, okay? So without using your notes now, I want you to like break it down. So if you just even like write MGG and then ATH or something, or AEH even, right? And then you just write the words under each one to see, can you even segregate, like if I, if you were sitting in the exam and you had to write out, like you're doing a bit of rough work and you're like writing out keywords to use, what words would come to mind. So this is kind of like an exercise like that. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to mute myself and figure out what's going on with this tape, and we'll circle back to it. Okay, I've sorted it. So we will go back to it when you are done this. Good. So I've tried to keep them, even if there's some sorry, un, I have tried to keep them, in their little phrases. Okay, I'll give you another minute on that and then we'll go through them together. Good. Okay, good. So I'm going to go through them here with you now, okay? So remember, when it comes to poetry, like the 15 marker is kind of where I would be putting most of my energy. Um, the so like obviously the 15 marker and the 9 marker. So as I've said to you before, if you're learning a 15 mark answer and it's quite detailed, you will probably be able to take a little chunk of your 15 marker out and put it in and use that like example or whatever to answer the 6 mark question. Okay. So say for example, like let's just say for Magrosa, if there was a little bit so if the question was something about the importance of the brackets and you have that kind of, learned to possibly put into your 15 mark question, then it may just be the fact that you just take that out of the 15 mark answer, use it as your Kesh the dough, okay, the 6 mark question, and then just remember not to repeat yourself in Kesh the Hien. So, it's just about, I would say, don't worry again because of the marks. And you've more important things to be studying. Like, don't be worried about Kesh the dough, is what I would say. So, let's have a look now and split between these. So, Grog on Turin is love without limits, and that is Magrosa. Person Tuck is Trovachti, so personality most important, Magrosa Arish. Ag Magafui, Magrosa. Okay, making fun of. Cuacht is power, that is Gavin. Ag Balu Famina is collecting seaweed on Tarachir. Even Adasa, nice images. Okay, so I suppose they all have nice images, but the one that we would be for that one would be on Tarachir. Okay, so yes, Amy, you can, just to mention that now. So if you've mentioned something in the 15 marker, in the 6 marker, if it is worded differently, and like, for example, if you're using a quote with it and the quote is different, that's fine. It probably won't be picked up as repetition. Okay. So prison, a nice easy one. Prison, Gavin, Grand Durcha, dark humor, we see in Magrosa. Quivni Suna, so happy memories is in Antarakir. Eg Iskerocht is fishing, okay, so eg Antarakir, so all the different things they did on the island. Dúlra, so nature, Magrosa. Now, look, you could say Gavin as well because obviously they're in nature, but remember, Magrosa uses kind of nature imagery to describe her partner. Cuma, appearance, Magrosa, Grow, okay, well, I suppose Magrosa or on Tarakir. Kathleen Maud, Gavin, Ceylon Ilon, an Tarakir, Nishandon the Gro, Magrosa, Alcha, so Cancer, Gavin, Chrona, Ugly, Magrosa, Snachokrasa in the wild, Gavin, Lava Wash, Gavin, so obviously I can't feel Lecati Maud. Navsbloch, so independent, so Gavin, so on Tanwi versus Hien. Huma physicula, so physical appearance, okay, nice phrase. In Magrosa, Lodzer, in Gavin, Kroga, so brave, Gavin, Suivness, which is peaceful, so in Tarakir, Farrig, in Gavin, yeah, so versa though. Ganeha then Dúlra, so aspects of nature, Magrosa. Martin O'Dearon is on Tarok here. Agus Óliacht is beauty. So beauty, I suppose you could say about Magrosa, and then Nulani Gonal, Magrosa freshen. Okay, so just remember to, I think it's really important if you take anything away in relation to Magrosa, you can try and mention the Shandon to grow. And like that, if it doesn't end up really fitting into the 15 marker, I would say then it should fit into the 6 mark question. Okay, so well done on that. That didn't seem to phase you at all. But the breakdown of the poetry question. So, like, do you know what? And this is a real quick question that I'm going to ask you, okay? And this is me trying to get you into the exam mindset. Do you know what kind of, like, what are you expecting in the 15 mark question? What to expect in the 6 marker? And what may or may not come up in the 9 mark question, do you think? Knowing what you know and kind of, the prep that you've done, kind of basically what's the layout, so how is it broken down, but also like what is your game plan? I want to know what your game plan is in relation to the poetry section. Like, how are you studying for it? Like, what are you learning? Okay. So yeah, so what's the game plan if, okay, so say Gavin comes up, right? And you're like, great, perfect question, love it, whatever. But then you look at the 9 mark question and it's not about Kathleen Maud. You need to expect that. But I don't think so. Say, right, McGrath and Gavin come up and you've studied them both really well. And it could be the deciding factor for you where we're like, oh, well, look, I knew Lenny Gonal, so the poet has come up for the 9 marker for Magrosa, so that's the one I'm going to do. Like, I definitely would say you need to kind of scope out and be like, right, what one can I answer the best? If you know two equally as good, um, like I would be saying to you, maybe it could even be just what one you prefer talking about. But yeah, definitely read the question. So actually, now that I have study clicks in front of me, I'm actually just going to bring up last year just to show you the 6 mark questions. Now I know we've gone through them, but just to kind of talk about them again now that we're on the topic of poetry. So, like, this was a new type of a question that we seen in Catch the Doe last year, okay? So, we'd never seen this before. Now, look, Spalpeen Fánach is a little bit of a different one because it doesn't have a poet. So, I kept saying, if Spalpeen comes up, it's going to be the meter question. And it was, right? The 9 marker. Now, so this Spalpeen is talking to us directly in this poem. What effect is associated, which effect associates with this poetic technique, okay? Now, like, there was so many variations that you could have had for that. And I'm actually, do you know what? I'm going to just show you on the marking scheme, if I can get it up here, just to show you what they would have said, right? Now, this sent students into an absolute tizzy because they were like, well, first of all, it was a bit of a like left field question. And they were like, some of them had great answers. Some of them, were well able to use a poetic technique and answer it. And in fairness, like a question like that, there will be lots of various answers that will be getting full marks. Just want to see. So that's prose. I'm looking for filiocht. So filiocht and so Spalpeen. Right. So that's for the 15 marker. So this is the way, just so in case you're not aware. So this is what students might say, okay? This is what they refer to. But obviously, like, it doesn't have to be exactly that. If they're in this kind of section, they should be getting the marks, right? So basically, so to repeat the question again, so the Spalpeen is talking directly to us in this poem. Which effect is associated with this poetic technique? Okay, what effect does this poetic technique have in the poem? Right. So what effect does this have on the poem? Essentially, right? Give one piece of information out of the poem to support your answer. So basically, like, make sure to reference the poem. So to include a quote in your answer is what they're asking you, right? So here is some points that they've given the examiner that students may have made note of. So the Spalpeen speaks directly to us and we understand his pain and his hardship better than ever. We feel pity, okay? Instead, so we feel pity within us for his situation. We feel disgusted at the life of the Spalpeen when he's telling the story to us, and we feel, his pain directly. It is a very personal account for the poem and it shows the truth of his feelings. Okay, so basically, you would have had all of this. But again, guys, and I think this is just what you need to be prepared for, is that they're going to throw up a question that when we dissect it like that, and you're like, oh, that's grand. Like, that's like, now that you've seen it, you're like, okay, I would be well able to answer that on like McGraw Gavin or on Tarakeer. But it's when it's put in front of you in an exam situation where you're so used to the layout, and once they throw up something new, you're like, oh, what the hell is this and what am I going to write? So what I would say in that situation, you really have to be like, right, okay, it's obviously something, if we peel it back, right? The 6 marker is usually a technique, as some of you have said, or like feelings. So, you're like, okay, well, I'm going to mention like feelings here, and it made him feel sad or made us feel sad or whoever. And that was actually what they were looking at. I'm just going to show you what came up because it's something similar then came up for, where's the other one now? Spalpeen. Did I miss? Spalpeen was the first one. And where is Colscarrow, here we go. So this question was, so the poet themselves is speaking, is telling a story about a couple in this poem. What effect does this technique have on the poem, right? And give 1 point of information, right? So basically, right, so it shows, so this technique is effective as it gives an insight into the relationship, okay, and the unresolvedness in the relationship. The poet gives facts to us, okay, associated with the marriage of the two. So he gives us facts. It helps us see the problems and to understand them. It helps to see that they couldn't come to a resolution. So basically, like, this is what I mean. Like, now I know we haven't looked at Colscara in depth this year, but if you go and you look at the Colscara folder, and where I go and talk about obviously Colscara and how to approach it, like, you will have that, like, all that stuff is in the 15 marker. So what I'm telling you is you need to just take out bits, or like Amy said, if you want to mention it again, it just has to be worded differently. That would be my only thing. You can't, if you repeat yourself word for word straight away, I am underlining it as the examiner, and I'm like ahro, which is repetition, and therefore I can't give you any marks for it. So overall it would affect kind of your overall grade, okay? So look, why I'm showing you this, and I suppose why I've gone down a bit of a tangent with that, is I just want you to not panic when you see kind of a bit more things that are a bit abstract. But look, you're lucky in a way that it's happened now in the last like 2 to 3 years consistently. So you're kind of expecting something that's going to be worded a little bit different, or something that doesn't follow the running order of things. But guys, I'm telling you now, you need to just sit and be like, right, these are the notes that I have, and this goes for every question on the paper. These are the notes that I have. I need to just engage with the question and use the notes that I think are going to suit this question the best. Where a lot of students, what would have happened to them is they freaked out and they were like, there's no way I can answer that. Or they just write a simple sentence, like, and they can't expand on their answer. And yes, that is going to obviously affect their grade, right? So again, I would just say be clever about it and write something rather than writing nothing, especially in this paper too, because you're getting marks for information, right? And you have learned the information, so why not share it, okay? Write it down on your exam and relate it back to the question, okay? So as I've said, okay, from the beginning, so you need to know what the poem is about, and obviously know the second layer of the poem. So what I mean by the second layer is, McGraw said the second layer of that is obviously about the old love poems, how they satirized women's beauty, you know, and how they compared them to aspects of nature. She has flipped that on her head. She is comparing him to nature, but she's also saying that he's, you know, so she's doing everything opposite. So rather than using nature to say how beautiful he is, she's using nature to describe how ugly he is. Okay, so that's McGraw's Gavin. Obviously, look, the second layer is what Gavin is meant to represent, and of Kathleen Maud and illness and sickness. And then on Tharakir, the second layer is obviously this shows, so each of the images shows a life on the island and how the people and the island were cooperating together. Okay, so nature and the people were cooperating, and just how like they lived off the land, right? And this is what O'Dearon misses the most, considering now he's living you know, in Dublin away, and obviously, you know, just misses home. And that's kind of a universal feeling, thought, etc. Now, learning the poet. So you will need so Kathleen Maud, Nuala Gonal, and Martin O'Dearon, okay? So you don't need Pork and Maxivna, which is this lad up here, okay? So I just thought this was kind of a good grade that you could use to write in your notes, right? And remember, when you look at the sample answers on the drive, in the 9 mark questions, I've highlighted pieces of them yellow. That's just to shorten them down for you, okay? Because we have heard from the chief examiner where they're saying they're like, students are actually writing too much in the 9 mark question, and they don't need to be. So, you know, there is room to shorten it down. Now, there is 2 sheets here on Cóca Milleis. I actually now there is notes on technique scanóineachta for Cócamillis. I have them up on the drive. If you can't find them, just let me know. But I like some people do say they're like, oh my God, what if they ask a whole question on film techniques? I don't know, would they ever do that? Because obviously, yeah, there is film techniques and yes, there's notes on it, but I don't think it would warrant a full exam question. So I don't think they'll go down that route, and I really hope they don't because it would be really, really unfair if they did. But you'd see a lot of students avoiding that question if they did. So there you go. So these are just kind of worksheets, but instead of actually doing the worksheets, I think I'm going to go back and I'm going to finish Quiz B, okay? And then I'll just do Quiz C at the start of class next week, if that's okay with you guys. So if we can go back to here, okay? I have the tape ready. You just give me a thumbs up when you're ready and I'll start the tape. So we'll do Coro Hin and Coro Do straight through. Just give me a thumbs up when you're ready to go. Yeah? Okay, right. This is going to go straight into it now, okay?
Córa a héan. Hello chéin. Go dtí mar atá tú. Scéalar beagat?
Well Aoife, tá má iontas séstal héin.
Cén fá sin na chéin?
Tá post lein amsire fáilte go. Is teagas gar an isma san anad aclaíochta sa bhla mór.
Cén obair a bhín arsúil agat an a chéin?
Jenna má cláir trénala an na boil agus teispanam dómh conas an trealamh a úsáide geart.
An datníon de fostlat?
Tatníon cinse a Aoife. Is sprélam a bheith codú le daoine agat spriccan na fallane a bhainte má. Tá an tuarastal go maiid fasta.
An bhfuil tú sésta leis na chuiranta ibretá agat a chéin?
Tá má sésta go leor lá ach a bhain go dasaí me gobar ar leachhar tar éis sé le bhaidín sa teachtain.
Mar is óldid, imríam commógiart leis an glob éitiúil ach tá jeirú leis an séasar inis. Ní dhearna me éon chleachtú corp in dhearú an séasar in éirí.
Cén fáin ar leantú a ré leis a gleachtú corp nar a bhí séasar na commógiart a háart an éirí a Aoife.
Le fírinne a chéin bhí mé gnócha leis an staidir san ollscoil. Chomh maith lei sin ní bhíoh fun orm dul le más na híchananta daratha.
Well a Aoife, wathandid ballraíochta eil san inad aclaíochta an ghibrú seo. Tá taile bhallraíochta speisialta ar fáil de Vic Lane, is é €9 an taile speisialta sin dá bhallraíocht tríomhí.
An féidirlim chuiriste ar bhallraíocht ar líne.
Is féidir cinse a Aoife. Tá noram bhallraíochta ar fáil ar thaobh gréasain an ionid, agus is féidir an taile bhallraíochta a íoc ar líne fasta.
Gur an míle maithegad as achta chuid cabhra a chéin. Sláán.
Okay, guys, so the next time you hear that is going to be split in two, so first half and second half. Okay, so remember, once the beep goes in the middle, look at the first three questions. When the beep goes again, only focus on the last three questions.
Hello chéin. Go dtí mar atá tú. Scéalar beagat?
Well Aoife, tá má iontas séstal héin.
Cén fá sin na chéin?
Tá post lein amsire fáilte go. Is teagas gar an isma san anad aclaíochta sa bhla mór.
Cén obair a bhín arsúil agat an a chéin?
Jenna má cláir trénala an na boil agus teispanam dómh conas an trealamh a úsáide geart.
An datníon de fostlat?
Tatníon cinse a Aoife. Is sprélam a bheith codú le daoine agat spriccan na fallane a bhainte má. Tá an tuarastal go maiid fasta.
An bhfuil tú sésta leis na chuiranta ibretá agat a chéin?
Tá má sésta go leor lá ach a bhain go dasaí me gobar ar leachhar tar éis sé le bhaidín sa teachtain.
Mar is oldid, imriam cymógiart leis an glob éitiúil a tá jeirú leis an séasar inis. Ní dhearna me éon chleachtú corp a néhearú an séasar an eri.
Cén fáin ar leantú a ré leis a gleachtú corp nar a bhí séasar na cymógi ar a háart an eri a ifa.
Le fírinne a chéin bhí mé gnóchach leis an staidir san olscoil. Chomh maith lei sin ní bhíoh fun orm dul le más na híchananta daratha.
Well a ifa, wathantid balríochta eil san inad aclaíochta an ghivrú seo. Tá teile walríochta speisialta ar fáil de Vic Lane, is é €9 an teile speisialta sin da walríocht trí.
An féidirlim chuiristeach ar bháilríocht ar líne.
Is féidir cinnte a ifa. Tá norm walríochta ar fáil ar híomh gréasain an onid, agus is féidir an teile walríochta a íc ar líne fasta.
Gur an míle maithegad asachta chuid cabhra a chéin. Sláin.
Okay, Athorda, so we're going to go on now to Coro Do. It's going to jump straight into it. And same crack the second time you hear it with the gap.
Córa adó.
Hi, Liam. Ní ach mé le fada hú. An raibh tú ar saoire?
Bhí, cha mé féin agus an hisismóirí, cúig seachtaine in Sydney. Tá mar go fuair ina Coney ann le gábh bliana nuas.
Cén fór éimigh do gur fuair go dtí an astráil?
Well, bhí si brein den chostas marachtála sa tíorsa. Chomh maith le sin, tá deisna fósaíochta níos fearracha hawl an sin.
An míon cua ar de gur fuair in iad an bhaile.
Bíon cinnte, aíonn si bhuathe an baile go minic. Ach is mór an chairde an technolíocht, mar bíonn si den gháilinn go rialta ar gléan na físe agus ar na hapanna tacteachtaí. Bíonn si ábalta a bheith i láthair go fiúil ag ócádaí tailig.
An míon deisice buail le héarnig eile in Sydney.
Bíon cinnte, is spálaí den chlub Gaelach sa chathair, agus bualann si le héarnig eile sa chlub Gaelach sin.
Cé go bhfuil go leor éarnach ag dul ar imirce go tíortha eile, tá sochaí ilchultúrtha go na sin éireann, agus a lán daoine ó thiortha eile ina gcónaíonn sa.
Tá an ceart ar fada go aine. Bhí méid féchant ar chláir faisnéise ar an telefís le déanaí faoi Maria. Ban a dag an Bhrasaíl, a tír thuchais de bhar aspa deisna fósaíochta an sin. Tá sin na Connaí liminach le 10 bliana a nuas, agus tá sé gobar i ggólacht mar gaoachta an sin.
Chonnig mé féin an chláir sin. Is ben ar le í Maria an bhean Bhrasíleach sin. Drastal si ar rang na Gaeilge agus tá Gaeilge bha i céhanis. Chomá le sin, is breolathe an ceol tradiisiúnta agus seanan si an adóg mhuar.
Tá gascí déanta ag Maria a áine. Nach óntach an rudé go bhfuil míadna ábtar dean go féin agus á gultúr sever a roinnt le daoine ó thiortha eile, atá ina gcónaí an sa in éireann.
Tá an ceart ar fad agat, Liam. Hi, Liam. Ní ach mé le fada hú. An raibh tú ar saoire?
Bhí, cha mé féin agus an hisismóirí, cúig seachtaine in Sydney. Tá mar go fuair ina Coney ann le gábh bliana nuas.
Cén fór éimigh do gur fuair go dtí an astráil?
Well, bhí si brein den chostas marachtála sa tíorsa. Chomh maith le sin, tá deisna fósaíochta níos fearracha hawl an sin.
An míon cua ar de gur fuair in iad an bhaile.
Bíon cinnte, aíonn si bhuathe an baile go minic. Ach is mór an chairde an technolíocht, mar bíonn si den gháilinn go rialta ar gléan na físe agus ar na hapanna tacteachtaí. Bíonn si ábalta a bheith i láthair go fiúil ag ócádaí tailig.
An míon deisice buail le héarnig eile in Sydney.
Bíon cinnte, is spálaí den chlub Gaelach sa chathair, agus bualann si le héarnig eile sa chlub Gaelach sin.
cé go bhfuil go leor éireannach ag dul ar imirce go tíortha eile. Tá sochaí ilchultúrtha go inis an éireann, agus a lán daoine ó thíortha eile ina gcónaíonsa.
Tá an ceart ar fada go aine. Bhí méid féchant ar chláir faisnéise ar an telefís le déanaí faoi Maria. Ban a dag an Brasil, a tír húchas de bhar aspa deis na fósaíochta an sin. Tá sin na conaí liminach le tí bliana a nuas, agus tá sé gobar I ggólacht mar gaoachta an sin.
Chonaic mé féin an chláir sin. Is ben ar le í Maria an bhean Brasíleach sin. Drastal si ar rang na Gaeilge agus tá Gaeilge bha ag céhanis. Chomá le sin, is breálathe an ceol tradiisiúnta agus seinnann si an adóg mhuar.
Tá gascí dianta ag Maria a aine. Nach óntach an rudé go bhfuil míadna ábtar deanga féin agus á gultúr sever a roinnt le daine ó thíortha eile, atá ina gcónaí ansa in éireann.
Tá an ceart ar fada agat a Liam.
Carrot galore. Okay, right. I'm going to go straight in now to the marking scheme. Okay. So here we have Coro Hain. So just be really careful. See what two marks, 1 mark. Okay. And then look at this one here. So you get 2 and 2. So this question, ever though. So Kesh the Do was worth 4 marks, and same with the second half, the Kesh the Hain was worth 4 marks. So 2 reasons and 2 types of work. Okay. So I'll just give you a second to have a look at that. So guys, then just keep your marks, and then we will add Quidge A, Quidge B, and Quidge C all together next week. Okay. Just give you a minute that before I scroll down. So we just need the last 2 questions, or the second question of on Daramir. So there's a few more there just for the Ivrahian on the second half. Just so you can see it. Okay, so hopefully I'm okay to move down now. Let me know anyway if you need me to move back up. So there's the second question. Okay. So €90 only got 1 mark. Okay. And then Coro Ado, if you're okay for me to move. So this was the first half, okay, the 3 questions. Look, so 2 reasons. Liam's sister left to go to Australia. So Custis Mark Tolo only got 1 mark. So I think if you're taking anything away from when you're studying the Clues Tishkent is they are looking for as much detail as you can possibly give, okay? So it's kind of like the main word and then what surrounds the main word kind of thing. Okay, are we all right with that one? So a good few options here for the last one. One reason why Liam said technology was very helpful to his sister in Sydney. So just to note the difference between the 2 marks and the 1 mark. And then the last 2, the last 2 here, in case you want to read what's up there as well. So guys, I've made a note that we're going to finish Quidge C next week, and then we're going to also be looking at kind of like essays and, basically how to approach the essay question with the topics that you have done. There is the masterclass this Saturday is on 6A and 6B. So again, if it is something that you want to join, just let me know. I think I've added 1 or 2 of you already. But yeah, just let me know if you do. All you need to have is just an account on the website, and I'll be able to add you from there, okay? If you want to join in on Saturday at 10 a.m. And if not, that's also okay too. So guys, as always, there is homework that has gone up now on the student folder. Okay, so if you get a chance, it's due it just to have it done before Thursday, because I'll correct it then on Friday. And as always, if there is anything else that you want me to have a look at or any questions you have, get in contact in whichever way suits you. All right. Sorry for going a little bit over time this evening. I hope that everything is going okay. And as always, you know where I am when or if you need me. All right. Enjoy the sunshine, and I will see you all on Tachtan Shuan. Okay. Thar díobh se, slán.